Hey guys, so here's part 2 of the 12.2 notes. We're now going to be talking about surface area of cylinders. So let's look at our formula here. Excuse me. Okay, so we have surface area, and then they have 2 times B, which represents the area of our base, plus C, which is going to be our circumference, times the height. Okay, but maybe this is going to be an easier formula here. We're really going to use this part. Okay, that's just going to be a lot easier for us to know and understand. So basically, R is going to represent the radius. Okay, so the radius of your circle, because a cylinder is going to have basically a circular base. Okay, and then H, just as actually talked about, that's going to represent our height. So the nice part here is really we only have to plug in 2 numbers, whatever the radius is and the height, and then we just plug this into our calculator to get the final answer. So let's go ahead and do a couple of examples here. Okay, so we have C and D. So we're going to have our surface area. I'm going to write it out. So we have 2 times pi, so if you didn't know, that is our pi, times r squared, plus 2 times pi times r times h. So all we have to do is identify the radius of our circle, okay, and then really the circle of the base, and then the height, and that's it. So the radius here, notice that 6 is pointing to like a line here. That is actually going to be our radius, okay? And then our height, which is going to be the up-down or the vertical, in this case, it's going to be 4.9. So now we just plug it into our formula, and then we put it into our calculator. So we have 2 times pi times 6 squared, plus 2 times pi times 6 times 4.9. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and show you how we're going to plug this into our calculator. So make sure you have that out with you. Okay. Now, everyone, no matter if you are using a graphing or a scientific calculator, you do actually have a pi symbol on your calculator. So we're going to use that to represent our pi here, okay? So we're going to have 2. Now we're going to do pi. So in order to get pi, we're going to do our second, so that second button, and then we're going to do what this is called the caret key. Okay, so it looks like this up here. So that gives us pi. So make sure when you are doing your problems on the homework or anything like that, you are using the actual pi. Don't use just 3.14, use pi. Okay, now we're going to do 6 squared, so I do need to put 6 in parentheses. So kind of how I have exactly put it onto these notes, you're going to do it into your calculator. Then we do the squared button, then I'm going to do plus 2, and then once again I do second, and then that caret key, so it's going to be that up button. And then I do parentheses 6, make sure you end your parentheses there, and then parentheses 4.9, end it, and then you press enter. And that's all you got to do. So the work that really has to be shown is just what you plug into the formula, and that's it. And then you can plug it into your calculator to get your answer. Now make sure you do read the instructions like on the homework assignment carefully, because it might tell you where to round to. We're just going to go ahead and round to 2 decimal places, okay? So our final answer here is going to be 410.92. Notice what our unit is, centimeters, and since we're dealing with surface area, it's going to be squared. So we have 410.92 centimeters squared, and that's our final answer. There you go, and that's all you got to do. So this is probably a little bit less work than the last one, but very simple, not too bad. Okay, so now D, what I would like you to do is go ahead and pause the video and try this one on your own. Okay, let's see what you got here. So we got surface area equals 2 times pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. I'm just going to write down what is our r, what's our h. So r is the radius, so that's going to be 2, and our height is going to be 6. So remember, our height is always the up, down, and then the radius is going from the center all the way to the end of the circle. Okay, hopefully you guys remember that. Now I just plug this in. 2 times pi times our radius squared plus 2 times pi times our radius times our height. Now we plug this into our calculator. I'm going to show that to you again, how you can plug it in. So we have 2, and second caret, and then 2 squared. Make sure that 2 is in parentheses. Our second caret key again, and then we're going to do 2, and then our 6 in separate parentheses to get our final answer. So we got 100.53. And notice that once again we have centimeters, so we're going to have centimeters squared. Okay? Okay, now one thing I do want to talk about, which we didn't do in any of these problems. Okay, if they give you the diameter, so let me kind of just do an extra problem here. So let's say we have our cylinder. I'm not the best drawer, so sorry. There we go. So let's say they actually give you the diameter. So they have, remember the diameter actually goes from one end point of the circle through the center to the other end point. Okay, so let's say this is 8 meters and this was 16 meters. Okay. If they give you the diameter, what you have to do is actually take that diameter and divide it by 2 to get your radius, okay? So here, diameter is equal to 8. So in order to get our radius, we will have to do 8 divided by 2, which gives us 4, and that's going to be our radius. And so when we do this, I'm just going to plug it in, not really doing the problem. So when it asks you for the radius, you will actually have to use the 4, not the 8. But your height is still the same. So I'll have 4 times 16, okay? So just be careful if you see anything like that on your homework. If they do give you the diameter, make sure you divide it by 2 to get your radius. Okay, make sure you watch the last part of the video. It is going to be finding either the radius or the height.